Welcome, everybody. So I'm here with Don, the Truth Conductor, who I met in Washington, D.C. outside the White House. Don, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us about yourself.
Well, my name is Don Folden Sr. I've been in DC 50 years this month, and I've done quite a few things. I ran for mayor. I have a history tour company, but I've been working on this message: stop hating each other because you disagree. Because we need to start talking to each other and stop talking at each other. That's the problem right now. We need to separate the good from the bad, and people just lumping everybody together, and there's good and bad in everybody. If the good people would just come together, man, we could solve this madness overnight.
Okay, I can get behind that message. I really do think that social media and a lot of the way the media frames up issues in general is very toxic and divisive. So I can certainly get behind that message. Tell me about the tours that you do. I'm
Well,
curious
well,
to know about that.
I started back in 2014. I started well, what I do, people aren't interested in. That's the Black history of DC.
Hmm.
As a matter of fact, this, believe it or not, Black History Month is one of the worst months in the world for me.
Hmm.
I mean, go figure that out. Sometimes I pray to God, please don't let me go out of business with no Black tours in Black History Month. But I do the Black history of DC.
Okay.
I tell the other side of the story of the city, and of course, that's just something people aren't interested in.
Okay. Well, like, what are some of the sites from the Black history of DC? I'm not very familiar with the city's history.
Well, like Southeast DC, that's where my tours start in
Okay.
Anacostia. A lot of people don't, Anacostia has a reputation of being very dangerous, but up until 1968, Anacostia was over 83% white.
Okay.
As a matter of fact, it started out where only no Irish, no mulatto, or no Africans could come there. It was a place in the city that was designed strictly for white people.
Hmm.
Okay, and Frederick Douglass was the first black man to actually integrate Anacostia. We if you go on Capitol Hill, we have Lincoln Park, where the Emancipation statue is. That's where Lincoln is standing over a slave, Archer Alexander, who is actually a real person. Um, and it looked like he's kneeling at Lincoln's feet, but in actuality, if they turn the statue back to its original position, he's looking north, because
Hmm.
north was freedom for us.
Hmm. Wow. So I guess the way that we came into contact with each other was I was out in front of the White House on Friday when
Right.
Zelensky was inside, and you and I were both there, and we saw the Ukrainian fake news media. They had maybe 10 people there with Ukrainian flags, and they were staging it to look like they were having a big event. And you were there saying you didn't agree with the
Right.
Ukrainian, and I thought that was pretty bold. You had your speaker out there. You had a microphone, and you were there just kind of countering the Ukraine. I call them the Ukrainiacs. Is what I call them. You were countering the Ukrainiacs. So I guess tell me how you ended up at the White House,
Well,
and yeah, go from there. Yeah.
well, the White House is where the world meets. There,
Okay.
there is no country in the world that White House hasn't touched, one way or the other,
Yeah.
either good or bad. And everybody that needs something, they come to the White House. So when I started this message 4 years ago, um, I was like, the world meets at the White House. Why not, instead of going around to different parts of the city, the White House is the watering hole. Why don't I just go sit at the White House?
Okay.
Because in my 50 years of being here, the one thing I've learned is if people don't see anything else in Washington, D.C., they want to see that White House. So that's the ideal spot to be.
Yeah, we couldn't get that close. Lafayette Park was closed down. What's going on in Lafayette Park?
Well, that was because of Zelensky.
Oh, okay.
You notice how the street was blocked off as well
Yeah,
because that's they don't want anything to happen to him on our dime.
right,
That's the bottom line.
right.
Okay, so all of that protection that you see was because of him.
Okay. And then what led you to feel so strongly about the Ukraine issue? Because you really kind of gave them the business. You said, I don't think we should be giving all these billions of dollars to Ukraine. You want to talk about
Well,
that?
yeah, well, back when this war first started, I'm trying to find a picture. Ukraine was treating Africans like crap.
Hmm.
I mean, really treating Africans bad in Ukraine. And when they first came to the White House, I went down to protest because I didn't appreciate how they were treating the Africans in Ukraine. And of course, they didn't like that.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm trying to find the picture now. I actually had a physical confrontation
Really?
with some people from Ukraine. And if I had reacted at the moment, um, they would have locked me up. But
Wow.
it's see, let me tell you something, man. It's not who you know, it's who knows you.
Hmm.
And I had a photographer behind me. I didn't know he was behind me, but he was taking pictures of the incident. And they tried to get me locked up. And Secret Service told them to listen, we know this guy. He's down here every day. And if he reacted the way he did, you had to do something. And
Okay.
in the meantime, a photographer behind me was taking pictures, and I went back and showed them to. They said, "Man, don't even worry. We know you good. You're
Okay.
good." It's just like before. I think before you came, I actually had a woman to come and snatch my cord of my microphone out my speaker
Right. Wow.
right
Wow.
there.
Wow.
I
That's
bet you she
crazy.
won't do that again
Yeah.
because she
Well,
ended up on the ground.
there you go. There you go.
Okay.
Well, let me so how recently was this incident near the White House that you're describing where they tried to have you arrested?
Oh, that was when they first started. I got pictures. That was when the war first. Here it is. Here it is. Look at this guy.
Okay. Wow.
This guy, and I'm looking at him and saying, man, if I knock you out, I'm going to jail.
Yeah.
Okay? And this is how they tried to crowd around my speaker. Because I was playing African drum music and they didn't like it.
Well, it kind of reminds you. I saw that that today, the Ukrainians they went to the Statue of Liberty and they unfurled the Ukrainian flag. It seems a little bit entitled to come to somebody else's country, and you're an American citizen. You're there exercising your freedom of speech, and they try to unplug your microphone and they get into physical altercations with you. They go to the Statue of Liberty and they unfurl their flag. It seems a bit entitled,
Well,
for people from a foreign country.
well, but see, this is what I said to somebody. How come you're not in? If you so stand, how come you ain't over in Ukraine?
Right.
All
They're
the
draft
able-bodied men that were standing down there. How come you're not fighting? Why don't you go to Ukraine?
they're draft dodging. If they're here, they're draft
They're
dodgers.
draft dodging. And see,
Yeah.
and I've said this over and over again that once Ukraine get our money, they gonna end up kicking us in the ass and treating us like crap. And
Hmm.
look, the first thing you want to do after Zelensky, he want to go and start talking to China. Well, if you want to talk to China, tell everybody that's from Ukraine, get out, go to China. We don't want you here.
Hmm.
See, why? Look at all of these refugees that came here from Ukraine,
Yeah.
living better than Americans.
Now, one thing you're talking about how they don't like that you have African drumming music playing and stuff. My understanding is that among a lot of the Ukrainian elements, there are white supremacists, right? The people that admire Stepan Bandera, the Nazi collaborator. That there is the Azov battalion, and that it may be that blatant, white supremacist racism is part of their beliefs. That's why they're so hostile to you. Do you think that could be a factor?
I wouldn't doubt it. I
Okay.
would not doubt it, not one bit. But like I try to tell them, you barking up the right tree.
So it seems like what you're telling me is that you just go to the White House with your message of Americans should come together, stop hating each other because they disagree. And these Ukrainians are there calling for more weapons to Ukraine, and they just can't tolerate the fact that you're there and have threatened
And
you and
speaking
harassed
against
you.
it, they can't. Every
Yeah,
time they come down there, I speak against them.
that's
Every
your
time
right.
they come, they know who I am.
Yeah,
They know who I am.
right. And that's your right as an American. You have the right
Okay,
to,
and
yeah.
I don't support this. There are too many Americans that are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at North Carolina, man. North Carolina is still a wreck, but we got money for Ukraine.
Yeah.
But we can't help out everyday Americans, but we can help out Ukraine. And they feel like, why are they so special?
Mm-hmm. Well, and they feel, not only do they feel that they are entitled to all this American money, they're entitled to be violent to you just because you don't agree with them. I
Yeah,
mean, this is,
it's not just me, it's anybody.
wow.
Anybody that disagree with them, they're gonna try to intimidate.
That's craziness. I mean, that's just, that's wild. So while we were outside, obviously Trump and Zelensky were inside. I'm sure you heard the exchange. What did you think of that conversation? Did it?
Listen. I'm glad Trump broke his foot off into Zelensky's behind. I'm glad. I mean, he broke it off up to the ankle, and he should have. How you gonna come here and tell us? See, this is the fear that when I first started talking, see, they hit me to, oh, that's Russian propaganda. Man, fuck Russia. Excuse me, I'm sorry, but I ain't for Russia either. If you stand a Ukrainian next to a Russian, you couldn't even tell the difference.
Right. Well, that is true.
Okay? So
Yeah.
I'm not for either one. But
Mhm.
when you start voicing your opinion and speaking out, see, Zelensky knows if there is peace, he's going to have an election. And 9 times out of 10, he going to lose.
Sure. Well, he was elected on a platform of making peace with Russia, and he did the opposite. He started a war, and now he's outlawed all the opposition parties, and yeah.
And
So
and and suspended the Constitution.
yeah, but he's supposed to be a democracy. That's why the USA is saying we're
You see
supporting
what
him.
I'm saying? But he's
Yeah.
suspended because and I've seen you've never saying this is the part that I keep trying to tell people you've never seen any real-time war in Ukraine. Never have you seen any real-time war. You've seen more real-time war in Gaza than you have Ukraine. What's wrong with that picture?
Well, what do you mean real time war? Can you explain what? I don't quite follow you.
I'm talking about actual fighting
Mm-hmm.
in the heat of the moment.
Mm.
You've never seen any real-time fighting in
Mm.
Ukraine. Everything you see is a video.
Oh, I gotcha. We're not watching it live. We're seeing produced,
Yeah,
content.
we're
Is that
seeing produced
okay?
stuff. We
Okay.
don't see real-time fighting.
Right. Right. No, it's very everything about Ukraine and American media is very manufactured and very
You see
yeah,
what
I
I'm
know what
saying?
you
So
mean.
how come we
Yeah,
never see any real-time war? Because all of the videos I see of them, they party and have a good time.
that's
They
true.
don't look
That
like
is
they
true.
scared to me.
Yeah, and Ukraine is notoriously corrupt, and the U.S. government has said that and all that. We acknowledge they were corrupt until this war started, and then we don't want to talk about the corruption.
So
Millions of
so
our toxic.
we
Yeah,
send them 175 billion, but they say we only got 75. Well, where's the other 100?
that's a lot of money to get lost. That's a lot of money that we could use over here for sure.
You see what
Wow.
I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying, and it seems to be that's the majority opinion. I mean, you represent the American people, and we voted for this at the polls in November. I mean, we picked a candidate who said he was going to end the war, and he didn't care who won; he was going to end the war. And the other candidate said no, she was going to keep us in Ukraine, she was going to keep us involved, and we voted against her, and we voted for the guy who said he would make peace. So it seems like this is the democratic process. We should get the peace now. And Zelensky, he was campaigning for Kamala Harris and he lost. She lost.
And serve him right.
Yeah.
So I say, cut off this gravy train, this meal ticket for Ukraine. Come on, man. We got Americans. We paying pensions in Ukraine.
Yeah.
We're actually paying pensions in Ukraine. In the meantime, Americans are losing their jobs.
Indeed.
But we're still paying pensions in Ukraine. Why is that?
Now, when you're out, in front of the White House, do you get a positive response from Americans? I mean, obviously the Ukrainians don't like you, but do other people agree with you?
Yeah, yes, they will secretly, keep speaking the truth, man. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Because Ukraine is almost like Israel.
Mm.
If you speak out against it, then you are demonized.
Mm-hmm. Sure. Right.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And that's it. And see, and as far as Israel is concerned, see, the problem with Americans is the Israel in the Bible is not them thugs that's over there today.
Right.
See, Americans think that the Israel in the Bible is who they are comparing. No, there's two different groups. They're not the same.
I would agree with you.
They're not the same.
Yeah.
Okay. And Americans are hung up on, the Bible version of Israel ain't what's in Israel today.
That is absolutely true. It seems like these foreign lobbies, the Ukrainian lobby, the Israel lobby, the military industrial complex that is working with both of them, they have a huge amount of influence over our government, even though the American people don't agree with them.
Well, but you see, there's no profit in peace.
Mm.
The only profit is in war.
Yeah.
There's no profit in peace.
There you go.
Look at the weaponry. Look at the amount of money, man. I mean, look at it. There's no profit in peace.
Yeah.
Because you're not producing anything. You're not making anything. No contracts are being handed out.
Mm.
So naturally, they want to keep us fighting each other.
Mm-hmm.
Keep us, man. And see, this is what I be trying to tell people. Somewhere along the way, we've gotten hate and disagreement to mean the same, and they don't.
Mm.
When I disagree with you, you and I probably disagree on a lot.
Sure.
But why not build on what we do agree on?
Right. Yeah. See, common ground.
And because, see, and this, man, at 72, this is what I've finally learned. Whatever a person think how they want to live, man, that's your choice. But don't demonize me because I don't agree with it.
Mm-hmm. So I guess, let me ask, are you a conservative or a liberal?
No, I'm a Republican, man. I've been a Republican voter for probably the past 20 years, 20 some. Okay. I'm not with this group that what they're doing because see, here's the problem I have with Dodge, Elon Musk.
Okay.
I don't have a problem with what you're doing. I have a problem with the way you're going about doing it. Because there is a protocol. Okay. And they don't want to follow protocol.
With the layoffs of the firing of government workers.
Yeah, they don't want to follow protocol. Yeah. I don't have a problem with you finding waste. Man, I told you, I've been in DC 50 years. Mm-hmm. Okay. And since I've been here, everybody's talking about they're going to change DC. Never happens. And this thing that with Elon Musk that he's doing, eventually, and you mark my word for it, it's going to burn him up. He's going to get frustrated. He's having a few small victories now, but they just waiting for him, buddy.
Yeah, well, I've heard that DC is already suffering from the lack of income, right? I mean, when you get rid of so many good paying jobs, people just don't have the money to spend. I mean, I've heard the DC economy, restaurants, bars, they're not doing as well, right?
Well, that for a couple of reasons. This is a couple of reasons that you have establishments that have built their reputation on the president visiting their business.
Oh, I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, you have restaurants and areas of town that have built their reputation on the president visiting their establishment. Well, when Trump came in office back in 2017, he turned that table over.
Mm,
It stopped with him.
mm,
Okay, because the only businesses that he started visiting were the ones with his name on them.
okay.
Okay, so all of the other restaurants, all the other businesses that have built a reputation on the president, once in a while coming in to patronize their business. Man, that's you booming. You know that you can't pay for that kind of advertisement. He
Okay.
stopped all that.
I see. And that stopped with Trump, and that was
That
that
stopped
hurt
with
it.
Trump.
Okay.
And Biden was too damn old.
Well, there you go.
he was too old to get
Yeah.
out and do that.
Well, very good. Well, let me
So
ask you, you talk about Black history in DC. Did you attend the Million Man March?
I did.
And what was that like?
Um, I've never seen anything like it in my life.
Okay.
It was probably about 2 million men in town, and the traffic never was congested.
Hmm.
We never had a backup. They came in, and just like they came in, they went right back out.
Hmm.
Matter of fact, I was a vendor at the time,
Oh, wow.
and uh, I had my kids with me, and we were on the mall, and my kids would kept running around. I was like, hey, y'all, come on now, because they say, Daddy, what's wrong with you? Nobody's bothering us. And I was, man, I had my pockets was stuffed with money. I mean, money was falling out my pocket, and guys were saying, "Hey, man, you don't drop your money." It was the most peaceful experience that I don't know if we could ever get that kind of unity ever again. I
Mm.
mean, I've never seen anything like it. And I told you, I'm 72.
Wow.
All
Wow.
right, and I'm from the South.
Hmm.
I came
Well,
from Alabama.
that was 1995. That was kind of an iconic moment when
Yes,
Minister Lewis.
1995. Yes, it was, and it was phenomenal.
And
That's all I can tell
Minister,
you. It was phenomenal.
yeah, Minister Louis Farrakhan was able to gather this, this gathering of a million men. You said it was like 2 million, maybe.
It's
I
like
was.
2 million men out there, man. Easy, easy,
Mhm. Yeah,
easy.
and
And I mean, from sun up to sundown,
hmm,
the traffic never was congested.
wow, and
They came in and they went out just the same way. No backups.
yeah, and around that time, I understand the LA riots had happened a couple years earlier, right? And then
Right,
Mumia Abu Jamal, the political prisoner, was facing possibly the death penalty. And that
right.
moment was kind of a moment where none of those issues were really addressed at the march, but it kind of showed a level of community power. I mean, it had an influence, and I know Bill Clinton made a point of not being there because he didn't want to embrace the march because it was controversial, but he also didn't want to oppose it, and so Bill Clinton left town, and that was kind of an important moment in American history in the 90s. I know Barack Obama said he was there as a young man. He attended, and it was kind of iconic. I think like Spike Lee has a film about people going to the march,
Right.
get on the bus, and yeah, yeah,
But
uh,
but but I mean, let me tell you this though, since
yeah,
we're on race,
yeah.
um, Trump will do more for black people in reverse
Mm,
than he will going forward.
okay, tell me
Just
more.
like George Wallace.
Mm,
George Wallace did more for black people in reverse than he did going forward. And what Trump is doing now, Trump, as a matter of fact, Trump will do what Martin Luther King and Malcolm X couldn't do,
tell me
and
more.
that's
What do you?
unite black people.
Okay, And how will Trump do that, do you think?
Well, we're being excluded from the military.
Okay.
The DEI programs that that for some reason blackness has been attached to them. More white people benefit from DEI than black folk.
Okay.
Okay, a lot of our history is not being taught in schools. You're blatantly say you're not wanted. And what that's going to do, that's going to force black people to start having to depend on each other.
Mm.
And we
Okay.
got the manpower, we got the dollar. See, this is what white America don't know. See, if you take the white dollar out of the black community, it's not going to suffer. But if you take the black dollar out of the white community, it's going to collapse.
Okay. So you're an advocate of like economic nationalism, so to speak, right?
Well, no. I mean, I'm for respect for my money. You can call it whatever you want.
Okay. Sure.
Respect my money.
Yeah.
Okay, because money has power. See that marching, all of that marching and doing, man, that stuff it ain't gonna work. It didn't work, and it still ain't gonna. The only thing that this world respects is money.
Right. That's
Okay,
true.
so why not use your spending? Black folks spend like $1.6 trillion a year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
That's a lot of money. All right, and see, and I'm not for reparations.
Oh, okay.
I, I'm not for reparations. No, because
Okay.
reparations would just be a wealth transfer back to the white community.
Mm.
If you gave this group of black folk some money for reparation, that money would be spent before they got in there, be in debt.
Wow.
But why not give us some free some years of no income tax?
Okay.
If you want to build generational wealth, a one-time payment is not going to build generational wealth.
Okay.
Okay, so why not have you say, okay, we'll give you 10, 15, 20 years that you don't have to pay income taxes. Now you can build some generational wealth and say, and how you gonna control that? Whatever you been identifying as, if you been identifying as white, you can't come and say, oh, but I got black. How you been identifying yourself?
Mm-hmm.
See, that's what. However you've been identifying yourself, that's where you stay.
Okay.
Okay, and that because that's my no, man. Give us some breaks on taxes. That will build generational wealth. Keep your one-time payment.
Absolutely. Let me also ask, other than your interactions with the Ukrainians, you probably have a lot of wild stories from your outreach at the White House and stuff. Anything else that stands out? Any interesting interactions?
Oh man, I mean, that's where the world meets, man. I mean, it's not a day go by, uh, a week go by that you don't see something crazy.
Hmm.
I mean, cause everybody and their mama come to the White House with a problem. A
Okay.
lot of people, believe it or not, wanna come up to Secret Service and give them paperwork
Hmm.
for the president. They like, you got to put that in the mail. We can't take that.
Okay.
Okay, so
Hmm.
everybody that has a problem come to the White House.
Hmm.
And you see you really literally see some crazy stuff. I mean, seriously. You really
Okay.
see some crazy stuff, some interesting people, to say
Okay.
the least. And that's on all ends of the spectrum: black, white, Asian, Hispanic. All kinds of people bring their problems to the White House.
Okay. And you're talking like in terms of social causes, or are you saying like mental illness or like?
Mental illness, if they got a, if they have a problem, if whatever job wise or whatever injustice that they might be experiencing, they want to take that paperwork and bring it to Secret Service saying, "Can you deliver this to the president?" They said, "No, you got to put that in the mail."
Yeah. Would you argue we're in a mental health crisis as a country? I know a lot of people are saying that things right now are not as they used to be. I mean, we've always had mental health issues in the country, but it's something's going on in the culture that it's gotten worse. Would you say that's right?
Well, yeah, and you know why?
Hmm.
Pharmaceuticals.
Oh, yeah. Right. We're all drugged up now
Look
like
at
we
the
never were
look at the
before.
medicine, man. All the medicine that they are treating people with, if you sit down and pay attention to the side effects, they will ask you, do you feel like you want to kill yourself? Have you had these kind of thoughts? They tell you the negative effects of this medicine.
Hmm.
All
Wow.
right. So it's the pharmaceutical industry that really is the cause of a lot of the mental illness. And if you go back and look at a lot of the people that have snapped these mass murders, bet you go back and look at the medicine that they're taking.
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's where the culprit is. It's in the pharmaceutical industry, but they don't want to tell you that.
There you go. Wow. Well, so you're out there pretty much every day at the White House?
Pretty much every day, man. Every day that I can be. I mean, this is. I've been married, man. This month be 6 years. My wife is Filipino,
Oh, wow. Okay.
and when we got married in 2019, uh, we missed um, her visa expired, and we missed
Hmm.
it.
Okay.
And the penalty to get it renewed was astronomical. And I said, baby, just go back to the Philippines, because I don't want you looking over your shoulder and be worried, and I'll come get you. And we didn't see the pandemic coming.
Hmm.
And we got separated by the pandemic.
Hmm.
And now, in order to get my wife into the country, I got to lie. And I refused to do that.
Sure.
So I just said, okay, let me put my head down. And a lot of people used to ask me, do you work for Amtrak? Do you? Because I worked for Metro. They stole my job. So when I started working for myself, this was my attire. And people would say, are you a conductor? And I would say yes on the Underground Railroad in order to give them a business card. And one
Hmm.
day, January the 1st, 2020, I was really missing my wife, man. And we had this park we used to go and sit in and talk. And I went and talked to her. I mean, was sitting there, and all I heard was a little small voice that said "True Conductor," and I was like, "Whoa!"
Hmm.
And I picked up my phone. I said, "Man, let me see if this domain name is available." And it was, and I bought it.
Okay.
And about a week later, the definition came, just a messenger from God. Both of my parents were pastors, and I refused to get in the pulpit. I
Okay.
didn't want to get in the pulpit, so God said, "I'm gonna get you one way or the other." So anybody can be a true conductor. It's just a messenger from God.
All right. Well, that's great. If anyone's ever in DC, stop by the White House and you'll run into Don the Truth Conductor. It was really good to talk to you.
Man,
And
thank
people
you.
can check you out on Twitter. You're on Twitter, and
I'm
where
on
else?
Twitter. I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. I'm all over. True Conductor, man. You can find me. You can
All
find.
right.
And you know what, man? You're the first interview that I've had in 2025. You're the
Okay.
first.
All right. I'm
All
honored.
right. And I
I'm
and I
glad.
pray that this goes viral.
I hope so. Jimmy Dore showed you on his show. Did you see that?
I
The
saw
clip?
that. I saw that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
hope this interview goes viral,
I hope so
because
too.
I tell you, and see, I could put "Let's Go Brandon" on this sign, which means F Joe Biden,
Mm-hmm.
and get rich overnight.
Right.
But trying to bring people together, as you can see, man, I live out of a hotel,
Mm.
because I believe in this message, and people don't want to support it. It's like, well, what you gonna do with the money? Well, maybe get out of here, maybe get a vehicle from a business,
Yeah.
or do something else positive. And
Mm-hmm.
but folk don't want to give you a chance to be positive, but
Right.
they'll make you rich being negative.
That's a good point. That's a good point. I try to be uplifting on my social media content too, and that people that do outrageous, angry, hateful stuff, and that's a big problem with the algorithms, right? We're encouraged to fight with each other, but we're not encouraged to fiend common
We're
ground.
not encouraged to uplift each other.
Yeah.
And this is what, and believe it or not, you got good people that are afraid of other good people, and they believe in the same Jesus
Yeah.
and scared to speak to each other. See, if we could just get good people to come together with other good people, man, we could turn this madness around overnight. But good people are afraid of other good people, and there's good and bad in everybody.
I agree. Well, it sounds like you're on a very noble mission. So I thank you for your time, and I'll be posting this interview around. And thank you. Thank you very
Man,
much.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely.
All right.